Hey, good morning, friends. This is a little message for Mountain People Organics friends and the friends at the Columbia Farmery. It's early in the morning. It is Friday morning. I wanted to show you that beautiful sunrise going on. Yes, I'm up. We're all in this shelter in place. So I just thought I would take a minute to talk to you about Mountain People Organics, what it is, where it came from, and what it is, what our vision is for you for today. So as the sun rises behind me and you get a little bit of the Puerto Rican sunshine, I just wanted to talk with you. So I wanted to tell you where Mountain People Organics came from. So Mountain People Organics has been around for, I'm going to say probably 40 years as a group, as a core group. It's been about 40 years. In Tuolumne County, there was a group of people that got together in their living room, in somebody's living room, and I am pretty sure that there's somebody in this group now that can tell you whose living room that was, but they decided to collectively get together and buy from a cooperative called Mountain People's Warehouse that used to ship to people in small groups and small buying clubs. They were one of the first buying clubs in California where you could buy 25-pound bags of rice, and you could buy oats, and you could buy cheese, and you could buy all kinds of things. And people collectively got together, and it was called a co-op at that time, because they would buy a 25-pound bag of rice, and 5 pounds would go here, and 5 pounds would go here, and 5 pounds would go here. And the order would come in. I think it started out once a month, and then it just kind of grew from there. Over the years, different people have shepherded this group, have kind of kept it going, have somebody else has placed the orders, and it's been in somebody else's garage, or it's been in somebody's yard, or the order has kind of morphed and changed over the years, but the core group and the core idea was the same. A group of friends are going to get together, and we're going to collectively use our collective bargaining power, and we're going to buy stuff together, because it's so much cheaper to buy a 25-pound bag of rice than a 1-pound bag of rice. Okay, so that was the beginning. Over the years, when I got involved with the co-op, probably 15 years ago, maybe more, I don't even know, maybe 20 years ago. I don't see, this is why I don't even know. I think 20 years ago was, 1980. However, when I got involved with it, Ann Hintz was running the group, and we were meeting twice a month on Tuesdays at Willow Springs Clubhouse. So how many of you in this group, tell me, how many of you in this group have been involved since we were meeting at Willow Springs? I know the core group is still there, and I know we're still doing this. Then I took it over from Ann. She ran it for about 10 years. It was called Ann Hintz's Natural Buying Club Natural Foods Buying Club. Ann Hintz's Natural Foods Buying Club. Because it was about natural foods, it was about organic, it was about clean living, it was about sustainability, it was about all that kind of stuff. Then Ann sort of stepped down. I stepped up. I bought the business from her, and it was my turn to shepherd the business. And when it was my turn, I did a few things. I changed the way we were ordering a little bit. I put it online, and we grew the club. We grew the business, and then it became a real business for us. So for George and I, at that time, it really became something that took more of our time. We were still meeting twice a week, and we did that at Willow Springs for about a year. Then we kind of got too big. What we were doing is instead of buying one bag of 25 pounds of oats was where I began. I bought it, and I put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and you could come and you could scoop out your own oats, and you could do your own thing, right? And then you didn't have to pre-order, and we didn't have to have it pre-split, the bag of oats. So then I had oats, and then somebody said, well, can we have rice? So then I bought rice. And the reason we hadn't done that before is because we weren't a food facility. We didn't have the standard 3-bowl sink, and we didn't have all the hand washing facilities, and we didn't have all of that stuff, but we were a small group, and we all knew the risks, and we had a bucket, and you could scoop it, and we could keep things clean, and we did that. And pretty soon somebody said, well, can we have rice? So then we did rice, and it was like, well, can we have white rice? Well, can we have jasmine rice? Can we have beans? So then black beans. So pretty soon we had all these buckets. And every day at the end of every market day, at the beginning of the market day, at the end of the day, my kids, and my kids will tell you this is true. We came early and we stayed late. And we carried all of those buckets out of where we were storing them, and we put them in to the Willow Springs clubhouse, and we set them all up. We made sure everything was clean and all of that stuff. And then our orders came in. So we're still a buying club. People are still buying what they want. The orders came in. We sorted the orders, put them on your shelves. I bought shelves during that time. Before we were just on the floor. We put all of our orders on the floor, and we just continued to grow from there. That lasted for about a year. And then we kind of outgrew that. So then we took our first big step, and we rented the facility from Todd Simonson. Do you remember Todd? Over at Microtronics. And we were in a 40 by 40 foot warehouse. And then we could get more stuff because we were not having to move. I think at one time we had about 60 buckets that we were moving in and out. My kids were exhausted at the end of the day. We were exhausted at the end of the day. So we knew we had to do something fundamentally different. So now we had a facility. We could just set the buckets up. George built those cool racks. Yes, they're the same racks that they're still using today. And we just grew with it. And then we just kept adding things. We had a 1-year lease, and at the end of 1 year, we had outgrown that space. So then, while we were searching for space, it was like somebody said, you should look at the Farmery. I was like, the old National Guard Armory is what it was. It was not called the Farmery. It was called the National Guard Armory at that point, and the county owns the building, and it was empty, and it was just sitting there. So I said, okay. So I stood in front of the door at the Armory, knowing what I knew about the business, and the sign on the door said 10,000 square feet, $4,000 a month. And I knew that was beyond our budget. That was not what we could do. So I wandered around, and I found a kid to let me in to show me the building. I said, can you, what do you think about, letting me in so I can just see the space? I remember the space because my dad, at one time, actually when I was born, my dad was the commander of that building. So I knew that building. I had grown up in there, but it had been empty for a long time. Anyway, so what we did is we talked our way in. The maintenance man, yeah, of course, he was a relative of mine. He was a cousin. He was married into the family. He was a cousin. He was a nice kid, Jared. We loved Jared. So really the Lord dropped on us in a moment the idea of the Farmery. I had been buying from Joe Rotifer, who happens to be Luella's Toffee. I had been buying candy from her and reselling it. Tyson Hill Farms, Josh in the back. I had been buying from him and reselling it to you. Hawk and Fox Farm, Jonathan in the back. I had been buying from them and selling to you. Several, Kendra, honey, Gold Country honey. I had been buying the honey and selling it to you. So what I did is I separated MPO, which is that big booth in the front, which is still the buying club, and the rest of the building. I said, you guys just, come in and sell your own stuff. And we created a market that hadn't existed. There really wasn't a business plan or a business model for what we did. It really just kind of grew. It just became what it is today. But at our core, we are still the buying club, and we're still a group of friends gathering together in a living room, buying collectively, using bargaining power to get a better price on our products. That's what we're doing. So that's where we came from. Anyway, we moved into the building, we negotiated with the county, blah, 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 blah. That was 7 or 8 years ago. So we've been in that location for 7 or 8 years, and it's now become what it was. For me personally, we sort of semi-retired, and we now live in Puerto Rico, where we can get up in the morning and watch the sunrise. And it's now being shepherded by Sarah and Renee. So this business, this core idea, we've all held space for this idea. And the space is that friends gathering together is a good thing. We learn from one another. We share ideas with one another. We meet people who are like-minded. What is our like-mindedness? It's certainly not politics. It's not religion. It's not child raising. It's not how to school your children. It's not, are you vaccinated or are you not vaccinated? It is, I want to feed my family. the best I can and spend the least amount of money. That's our core idea. How best can I serve and feed my family? And if I'm interested in feeding my family, I'm interested in you feeding your family. What's the easiest and best and cheapest way for you to feed your family? That's what we want to know, okay? That's the core of Mountain People Organics. So now let me tell you, that's where we came from. Let me tell you what it is today. Today it is still that core idea that says we are a group of friends and we're gathering together collectively to order stuff and to buy from our other friends, from our other neighbors. We know, I know, you know, the names of most of the vendors that are in the building. I know right now it's sort of been locked down, it's sort of been shrunk down for this time and this season that we're in, right? That's okay. That's okay. The core idea is still there. The core idea still says we're in this together. How can I help you? So what I want to know is, I know there's a couple people in this group who need help. And I know there are more people in this group who can help. So I'm going to ask if you need help or if you want help or if you can help, let's have a conversation about that. There have been other things that have happened in our community where we've had to come together, and that's what this group is about. So as time goes on, I'll explain to you a little bit more about the Buying Club and what that is, but I really wanted you to have a flavor of the history and the view and the commitment and the love that we have for one another, right? We want to treat one another in a kind way, in a gentle way, in a loving way. It is loving and kind for me to want you to do the best you can and feed your family a certain way, right? You know, I don't want you to eat at Taco Bell and McDonald's and Burger King. And, you know, I know that it's inconvenient to eat at those places. Now you have to drive through and get it. Good. Don't fall on that. This is the time I want you to learn to cook for your family, use real food. Remember, our philosophy on food has been the same from the beginning. Eat real food. Eat real food, prepared in your own kitchen. Eat whatever you want. You want to eat cookies? Cook them yourself. Or buy them from that bakery in the back where they bake them themselves. They're not been processed with some kind of god-awful chemical that, you know, they put in there to make them have a shelf life of 2 years so they could stay in a package nice for you. No, reject that, okay? This is the time for you to learn to cook real food. If you need help, ask. There's somebody in this group that knows how to do this. Do you know how to prepare really tasty rice and beans? You can do a lot of things if you just have rice and beans. So this is a time when we should be thriving. This is a time when we should be exploring. This is a time when we should be reaching out to our neighbor. You are my neighbor. Even though I live in Puerto Rico now and you live in Tuolumne County and it's snowing for you and it's sunrise for me and it's going to be 70, 80 degrees today. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day where you are at. Even with snow on the ground, even if it's cold. It's still a beautiful day because you are still a beautiful community and you are coming together and you're helping one another. And that is the vision that we've always had at MPO. So Mountain People Organics goes all the way back to that idea that says, as a group of neighbors, let's get together in somebody's living room and let's figure out what we want to feed our family and how best to do it and learn from one another. And that's what we're going to do. Okay? That's what this time is about. This is a time to lean in. This is a time for you to lean in. And I want you to lean into your community. I want you to lean into your family. I want you to learn. I want you to eat real food. And that's how we stay healthy. Okay? I'm not going to go in. I don't care if you're keto. I don't care if you're paleo. I don't care if you're caveman. I don't care if you're gluten-free. I don't care if you're sugar-free. I don't care. It doesn't matter. At the core, it has to be real food. It just depends on what kind of food, right? So forget all the rest. How can you best serve your family and how can you best serve your community? So in this group, if you need help, ask. If you can help, give, okay? No, I am missing you. I am missing the community. I am just like you, and I am trapped in my house. My kids, I don't even have my kids. I got George. And George and I are figuring it out, right? We're fine. Those of you who've heard us, we had a really public life for a long time. You heard all of our fights. You saw all of us when we were like at each other, right? We're beyond that, okay? We grew up a little bit, okay? It's all good. This is a season when I want you to strip away all of this junk all of the things that have distracted you. And I want you to come down and figure out at your core, in your family, who are you? I serve a good and loving God, and He loves you, and He loves me. Because He loves me and He loves you, I have to love you. That's how it works. See? Love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's sermon done. That's all. Okay? I love you. I miss you. I bless you today. And how can I help? How can I help you? Okay? Bless your socks off today. Okay, guys?